Hi everyone, Jon Mitchell here, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So I've got a variety of things this week, some of which is pretty big news. So as you may have heard, the state announced the winners of its most recent bids for offshore wind development. And so what does this mean? Every so often the state invites offshore wind developers to bid on the right to supply their electricity to the state. And they did this recently, and there was a big procurement. It was a big ask, and so it was an ask for really big projects. So there were 3 awards announced. One is to Avangrid Renewables, a big energy firm, multinational energy firm. The second was that's part of the current Vineyard Wind project. The second was to a company called South Coast Wind, and the third was to a company called Vineyard Offshore, which itself is related to the Vineyard Wind project. Some of these names get complicated, but the bottom line is there were 3 awards for 3 really big projects. The last one is still contingent on whether Connecticut will buy some of their electricity, but the first 2 are solidly in place. A lot can happen between now and the time they actually launch their projects. But what does it mean for us? Well, it means that all these projects have committed to doing significant activity here in New Bedford, including operations and maintenance, which is the work that takes place, as the name implies, over the whole life of the offshore wind farm, so which goes from 25 to 30 years or so. So that means there's a whole lot of jobs that will be created here to support those projects over a long period of time. And some of the marshaling of the projects, the deployment of those projects will also take place here as well. So that means that, as you can see with the Vineyard Wind project on the waterfront right now, that there'll be lots of people in our hotels and restaurants, and then a lot of folks locally who are employed. So this is all to the good, and it's being done to my satisfaction without interference to the fishing industry. These are all in areas that are not heavily fished by New Bedford fishermen. And so it's really, really good news. Again, none of this stuff is set in stone, and we have to continue to push it ahead, but they just hit a very important milestone. And so there's good reason for a whole lot of optimism. So I think that these projects will, in the long run, if they go forward, pull in lots of other investment that I think will create still more opportunities for our residents. The second thing I want to talk about today is the police department. So a couple of announcements recently that I just wanted to follow up on. The first, and there are 2 big ones. First is that the department is rolling out body cameras now. This is starting to become standard among urban police departments around the country. So these are just cameras that police officers wear right on their chest and activate when they're interacting with people. And so what this allows is a recording of those interactions, which can generate evidence for cases that have to be prosecuted. That's one thing. If you get somebody on video doing something, that can be very compelling evidence. The other thing is it just increases transparency. So police officers are often subjected to false accusations, and by having a video recorder on their person, we're going to see, as other police departments have around the country that have deployed these things, a sharp drop in those types of allegations. What's the significance of that? Well, it's good for morale for police officers, but even more fundamentally, it'll help create a higher level of trust between the police department and the residents they serve. So this is an investment that's worth it. About 50 officers have them on so far. The rest will get theirs over the next month. The other big thing with the police department is this. We started the process to build a new police headquarters. People might remember the old police headquarters downtown that was built about 100 years ago or so. And that building was replaced by what's now the DeMello International Center. It had been Compass Bank. This is 25 years ago, and what the city did with the properties, with the police department then, was to put them in what had been the former Fernandes supermarket, you recall, on Rockdale Avenue. That was supposed to be a temporary arrangement. 24 years later, it's still the arrangement, and it's not a building that suits the needs of the department. It doesn't serve the training or the morale needs of our police officers. We need to build a new police headquarters, and so we started the process this week by we are about to start the process to invite in what's called an owner's project manager, whose job will be to launch what's called a feasibility study. That study will decide where it'll go, the new one will go. And then after that comes design and construction. So it's going to take a few years, but I believe it's something that the city has to invest in the years ahead, and it's long overdue. But that's something that I think will, in the long run, make New Bedford a safer place and have a higher functioning police department. Our police department's come a long way over the years. They've been very successful in reducing crime in the city, and I think this will make things even better still. The last thing I just want to say is that this week is the 25th anniversary of the start of AHA, Art, History, and Architecture Nights downtown, the second Thursday of every month. And it's brought a lot of interest and a lot of vitality to the downtown over those 25 years, and all the people who have been involved in it over the many years, Lee Hild, Nelson Hawkett Lotz, and so many others who've made it a success deserve a great deal of credit. And I'm grateful to them. I'm grateful for all the businesses and nonprofits that have contributed to that success over the years. So kudos to them. Here's to the next 25 years. With all that, this has been the Mayor's Weekly Update. We will see you next week.